Hey, how you doing? That's good. So, I felt like telling you guys a story. I have some more energy, it's late, but I felt like, I might as well. So, nearing the beginning of the year, so my very first week of college, and I am pretty frazzled, but, I'm looking at the schedule and I'm kind of getting into a rhythm, and I'm noticing that the workload it's handleable. So I really felt like going out there and just, you know, looking for some new, looking for some new influence out in the community, and I just kind of wanted to see what kind of a band or an orchestra or just something, just get out there and see what's out there. You know what I mean? Something that wasn't involved with the school, and just do something for myself. So I'm looking around, and I notice on a poster in the school, and it's like Hamilton Youth Orchestra auditions in 3 weeks or something like that, and I was like, that sounds interesting. That actually sounds really kind of cool. And so for a week, I think, I was really, I was strapping on my scales, and I was running through my pieces, my audition pieces, and it's the exact same. I was looking at the requirements, and it was pretty much exact same as it was to get into college. And so I was running through all that, and I was feeling good, and so I went into my private lesson. This is a week after I start really looking at my stuff. It's 2 weeks before the audition. And I bring it up to my instructor, who I've had for 2 weeks. I've only had 2 lessons with him. And he's like, that's interesting. You want to audition for the HPYO, which is this youth orchestra. Well, I'm actually the brass instructor for that youth orchestra. For the adult version, the professional orchestra, the Hamilton Orchestra, HPO, yeah, the Hamilton Philharmonic. So the professional model, he's actually their lead trumpet, and I thought that was really cool and it's awesome. But then he brings up the fact that he's the one that I would be auditioning to, and so it's like, so I have to audition to you, eh? And he's like, yeah. So what do you think? I mean, he's heard me play for the past 2 weeks, and fundamentally, I'm a little bit off because I've never had private lessons before. So my fundamentals are really not so awesome, but I work hard, so it is what it is. And he's like, looking at your technique and looking at what you know, I think you should hold off until next year, because I'd like you to go in to an audition that you feel confident on and you don't feel like you're jumping the gun, and I'd like you to go in confident and really show what you have to offer. And I was like, yeah, I think you're right. And so I was considering it for a little while, but I was really confident in the scales that they were asking for and in the music they were asking for me to play, and I felt confident and I felt good. So a week before the audition, I called them and I'm saying I'm going to audition, and they were like, okay. And I just talked to the lady that organizes the schedules, and she's like, yeah, okay. And so it's the day of the performance, or the day of the adjudication, or the jury, or whatever it would be. And I'm feeling good, actually. Like, normally before an audition, I'm really I step back, I really calm down, and I start kind of getting crumbly, like I just mentally kind of crumble. But today I was just feeling good. I was just feeling calm. It was a nice sunny day out. It was warm. It was nice, and I was practicing, and I felt good, and everything just kind of felt warm and well-rounded. And so I'm kind of just, stepping out. The place I was auditioning to was just next door to the college, so they actually rehearsed just next door to college, so it's, like, super awesome. It's like a private high school, I think, or something like that. So I just need to step out the door, and I'm there, which is A-okay with me. And so basically, I step out, I'm feeling good, I have my trumpet, my music, and I'm going out, and feeling really good, and I get about halfway there. I'm looking at the school, and all of a sudden, a giant wet patch appears on my head, like, feel it, smell it, a seagull shat on my head, like a dump, like this big, just drooling all over the top of my head. So I run as fast as I can, get into the private high school, and I try to wash my hair. I'm in the position where my audition is in 10 minutes, and I'm fumbling, and I'm now really getting nervous, and I'm fidgeting, and I'm losing my my focus, and I'm falling apart, and I'm only spreading it around, like not spreading it around, but I'm kind of getting it on me, and it's not really getting out, and I'm just like, okay, wash my hands. I can't handle this, or I can't try and just deal with this now. I have to deal with it later. So I get out, I try to find my composure again, and I get up to the lady at the front desk, which will allow me into my adjudication when it's my time. And she's asking me some questions, filling out some forms, and she's looking at me. So I'm sitting beside her, or across the desk from her. And she's looking at me, like, my hair at this point is, like, soaking wet in the front and, like, dry in the back, so I look like a retard. There's this smell slowly emanating off my body towards her, and I know it is, and halfway through me filling out the form, she kind of turns up to me and just, like, kind of brushes on her nose, just, like, looking at me, and just trying to be polite, but I know it was just like, oh, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. So I fill out the forms, and I kind of leave just off to the side, just like, there's this slow hint of satisfaction or relief when I kind of step back, and I go into my audition, and I nail it. Like, I actually nail it. Fundamentally, my technique at this point in my education, because I had never had private lessons before, my technique was really bad. When I get nervous, my air cuts off. My notes, I couldn't really hold very well. It was really stuttery and shaky. I get shaky in auditions. So it was like, and it wasn't really kind of working, but I nailed everything. My fingerings were perfect, my entries were great, my timing was on, and, like, I got to a point where they cut me off halfway through my piece, and I'm like, don't anymore, it's good. And then they didn't let me do that, or I didn't do scales. It just wasn't a thing they needed to hear. And, so I was like, okay, technically, fundamentally, what you just heard was shit, but technically, it was also pretty awesome because I just nailed everything. So the fact that they cut me off early was like a mixed bag. I wasn't confident that I had gotten in, but I knew I did my best because I didn't fumble anywhere. I was doing my best for the technique I had. And so I kind of leave. I shake their hand, and as I'm shaking their hand, they kind of give this disdained look after looking at me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm just gonna go now. And they're like, okay. And I'm walking out, and I'm covered in shit. I just did my best, and I'm feeling really good. I'm beaming. Like, I love that feeling after you do your best at like anything performing wise, and I do my best and I leave. It's the best feeling ever. It's one of those feelings where it's like refreshing, and it reminds you of why you want to do this for the rest of your life. And I end up walking home, like, just whistling to myself covered in shit, and I drop off my trumpet, go home, have a shower, pass out, because I'm, like, just dead beat. I always am after an audition. And in 2 weeks, I get an email, and I had gotten in. And I was really happy. I was overjoyed, actually. And for the past 8 months, I've really been enjoying that. Actually, coming up soon, we're going down to New Orleans for a week, I think, or just a little bit less. And we're going to be performing Tchaikovsky's Fifth 4 times, and then coming back and doing it the final time. And hoping to see some familiar faces. I've been really enjoying that, and it's been a nice sounding board because I go to private lessons and I learn all this different, not radical, it's actually kind of basic, really basic, but it's just refreshing and stabilizing, and this different technique, inquisitive technique, I don't know, just this new technique, and orchestra's been a really nice place to put it into motions, you know what I mean, like just a place to hear myself and work on things, and it's been good. I also have 3 other trumpets that are further ahead in their education, and so it's really nice because at my school there's not a lot of classical trumpet other than my instructors, and so I don't really have any students I can look at and say that is good technique or that's bad technique, that's good sound, that's bad sound. It's more of I have to be subjective with myself, and that's it. So it's really nice because I have these different trumpeters who I get to look at and try and emulate and look at and work through and